Hello, seventh grade. Welcome back from your vacation. It is 2025. It's day number 8 of career readiness. I'm going to explain what today's activities are. So you're going to take a personality test today. We're going to use those results in your Smart Futures, and I'm going to explain all of that for you. All right, so your personality test is actually, you know what? I'm gonna go back because I forgot it's the beginning of the week, because it's not the beginning of the week, but this week you have your personality test. You're gonna do activity number 8 in Smart Futures, and then you have a career presentation that you're going to be creating the rest of this week. Wednesday is a club day. Anything from this week is going to be due next Thursday, January 16th at 2:30, because you guys do have off on that Friday. Okay, the other thing that we need to make sure is done, anything from before the break, which was the A to Z careers, activity 1, 5, 6, and 7, those are all due by the end of this week, which is Friday, January 10th. So check your stream to see if you are missing work or not missing work. Again, the deadline is Friday, January 10th. Okay, now back to what we were actually supposed to do. And that's not it. All right, so we're going to look at a personality test, and we're going to figure out which personality fits you, get your personality type, and I'm going to just show you a video about that. So here you go.
Are you an ENTJ, an INFP? Even if you've never used any Myers-Briggs tools to discover your personality type, you've probably at least seen these acronyms before. This is the most popular personality test in the country. Over 2 million adults use online tools such as this to determine their personality type. A shocking 89 of the Fortune 100 companies actually use this test for hiring and development purposes. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the history of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, also known as the MBTI quiz, and how it has become one of the most famous ways to look at different personality. Are you an ENTJ, an INFP? Even if you've never used it.
I don't know why it started over, but he's very fast. I think we're about here.
Personalities. So Catherine Briggs and Isabel Briggs Myers were not world-renowned psychologists. They were just a mother and a daughter who became interested in studying personalities. The duo taught themselves about the science of personality testing through their fascination with theories created by Carl Jung. Jung believed that humans experience the world using 4 different functions. These functions were the dichotomies that we associate with the test today: extroversion versus introversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. At the time that Briggs and her daughters were researching Jung's theories, America was involved in World War II. Women were looking for work at unprecedented rates, and many of them for the first time. Briggs and Briggs Myers believed that if women could understand Jung's theories and assess their personalities, they would be able to look for jobs that would best suit their interests and personalities. So they took all of the dichotomies and created a test that would show them which side a person stood on. Their assessment determined whether a person was more introverted or extroverted, more likely to think or more likely to feel. Well, the combination of these 4 sides created a personality type. For example, an ENTJ is more extroverted, uses their intuition, is more likely to think than feel, and usually judges before perceiving. There are actually 16 of these personality types, and each one is likely to have certain talents or a skill in the workplace or in specific relationships. Their first version of the assessment, the Briggs-Myers Type Indicator Handbook, was published in 1944. For the next 50 years, the assessment would be tweaked, and 3 different MBTI manuals would be published. It actually contains over 80 questions in the European version and over 90 in the American version. Certified professionals, they say, are the only people allowed to administer and deliver the results of an MBTI. Now, people can access many similar versions of the MBTI online, but unless a licensed professional is involved, they will only receive a close guess of the results. So, what do the results mean? You just took a test and you're an ENTJ, but what does that mean? In order to look at the results from the MBTI, we'll have to go back and look at how Carl Jung believed that humans interacted with the world and how Briggs interpreted his work. Jung used a lot of observation and introspection to develop theories for how people take on new experiences and how they process information. Now, actually, he didn't use too many scientific studies, and this is a fact that is often brought up by critics of this personality quiz, but his work made him one of the most influential minds of the time and certainly gives insight into how we actually do interact with each other in our world. Jung's theories and Briggs' work answer crucial questions about how we seek out and how we take in experiences. They answer these questions with 4 dichotomies, those dichotomies being the result that make up our personality types. So let's go ahead and explore these questions and what they say about your personality. Question number 1 is, where do you get your energy? And the answers are either extroverts or introverts. The first question pairs with the dichotomy extroverts versus introverts, and these are a hot topic in the discussion of personality psychology. Almost every personality quiz seems to have at least this, but there are many misconceptions about these two labels. Extroverts don't always want to get wild at a party all the time. They just get their energy from stimuli with the outside world. Introverts aren't necessarily shy and secluded. They just get their energy from self-reflection and staying within their own world. You can still be a social person and be an introvert, and on the other hand, you can also be a shy extrovert. Question number 2 is, how do you take in information? Do you sense it or do you use intuition? Whenever you walk into a room, how do you assess what's going on? Do you prefer to get hard facts and direct answers? If so, you're probably ranking high for sensing. Now, if you prefer to rely on your intuition, your gut, you may get a feeling for what's happening. You may look at patterns, body language, and just feel the energy in the room. That means your second letter would be an N, standing for intuition. So, the third question is, how do you actually make decisions? Do you think or do you feel? Once you have to act, how do you actually decide what you want to do? You might be the type of person to create a pros and cons list and rely on logical thought to make a decision. If you are, you're probably scored high for thinking. However, maybe you frequently go with your gut feeling and you rely on the emotions that you're feeling to make your decision. Then you might have ranked a bit higher for feeling. And number 4, how do you organize your world? Do you use judgment or do you use perception? When you're planning a trip, do you plan or do you leave things open to change? If you tend to be a planner, you might find yourself planning most of the areas of your life. You can use your judgment to predict what you will do next and how the next few years of your life are going to look for you. If you tend to be more flexible, you might be more relying on your perception of the world. When you perceive things to be a signal for change, then you go ahead and you make that change. Now, this dichotomy is an addition to Jung's original theories. Remember, Briggs did not use Jung's theories word for word. She simply based her personality assessment off of his work. She used it as a guide. These questions can certainly give you insight into how people work and interact with other people. And this is why it's used by so many business leaders and hiring professionals. Further research actually shows how different personality types interact with each other and how many of each type you should hire for a productive workplace. You don't want all of your employees to be extroverts, and you also don't want all of them to be introverts. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to watch some of the other videos in this personality series.
Okay, that was very loud, but gave you a little bit more information. So you're going to figure out what your personality type is today by completing a 12-question test. Can't give you the real thing because I don't have the real thing, and I'm not a certified person to give you the actual Briggs inventory. So whenever you read these questions, though, you should go with what your gut instinct is to answer. Like, don't overthink the question. Just what is your first initial thought? True or false? Okay. This kind of looks a little crazy, I know. But you are then going to have to score your test. And I'm actually going to go through this on the slides that you have rather than on here. Okay, each of you are going to get 4 numbers. You're either going to get an E or an I, an S or an N, T or an F, or J or P, and a J or P. So you're going to have 4 letters from those. So 1 of each color. Now, I'm going to come back to what this is. So on the personality test itself, okay, you have each question. It says directions. Well, I'm sorry, it's taking a minute. Answer each question putting a T or F in the red box. So once you have this completed, so let's say the first one, honestly, I'm not going to make this my answers. Let's say I have true, false, false. Okay, we'll go with that. You are then going to transfer your answers from slide 1 into the red box. So I would put true, false, false, and then keep going with all of them. I'm just gonna put this here. True, false, false. And let's make this a little bit bigger. From that point, once you have all of your answers transferred from the first slide to this slide, you are then going to drag this circle to the correct letter. So it doesn't have something for all of them. I have a circle there. You're going to click the circle. I've answered true, so I'm going to circle the T. I've answered false. I'm going to circle the F. And I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep moving things around. After I'm finished with that, all of these boxes on the left should be filled out. All of the circles should be covering either the true or the false based on what I have over here on the left-hand side as my answer. Then you are to add up each column, and you're going to have a winning letter in each category. So let's just, for example, I have all of my circles. Obviously, I'm not reading them. This is not going to be my actual result. You would have an actual result. So when we're done, you're going to look. In this first column, extrovert or introvert, so this color, I'm going to look and I'm going to count how many are circled in the first column. 1 is circled, so I'm going to put a 1. The next column, I'm going to count them up. I have 2. So that means I'm an introvert and not an extrovert. I'm going to tell you what all that means. Next column, I'm going to add those up. There's 1 and there's 2. So now I am an N. So I'm an I-N, and I have 2 and 1, and I have 3 and 0. So I'm going to be 2, the I, the N, and then I'm going to be T and J. I-N-T-J. I'm going to write that down so that I can show you what that means. I-N-T-J. Okay, so from there, I'm then going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to find what I just got. So the 4 letters, and it says to drag the smiley face to my personality type. So I'm looking for the I-N-T-J is the first one. So I'm going to move my smiley face to here. Okay. Boom. The architect. I'm imaginative, strategic, and a planner. Okay, I really didn't read these questions. I'm okay with this so far. All right, so then the other slides, I've just put them on here for you to see. I'm now going to go to slide number 4, INTJ, yes. Here it tells you what everything is. So an introvert, it says they could be described as reserved and private. They prefer a slower pace with time for contemplation and tend to think things through, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go look at each of the letters that you got and see if that really is something that would fit you. So my type is, again, the INTJ, and it's the architect. They're smart and hardworking. You're always thinking ahead and putting plans into action that will pay off in time. Boy, sounds pretty accurate. So you're going to say, do you think the personality test fits you, or why not? But actually, I'm going to, what is your personality type? Do you think the personality test fits you? Why or why not? Maybe you got that you were an introvert and that doesn't seem to match you. You think you more match with extrovert. Which kind of is question number 2. Do you feel knowing your personality type may be helpful in finding a career that makes you more comfortable? Why or why not? You might think that this is going to be helpful. Maybe you're going to say this is absolutely ridiculous. Hey, whatever. But you are going to answer those 3 questions. So That is the personality test, and you're going to find out if you're the extrovert or the introvert, sensing or intuitive, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. And I think that's about it, really. We are going to use your personality type for activity number 8 in Smart Futures. There is a part where we can use this, so that's why we're doing it today. So you can go ahead and get those Chromebooks ready. Your career of the day today is a physical therapist. You will assess, plan, organize, and participate in rehabilitative programs that improve mobility, relieve pain, and increase strength. You need to have graduate school, so some of you need to have a master's degree, but sometimes you can have a doctorate degree. You can make $57,000 to about $126,000 per year as a physical therapist. All right, so really, a lot of people get very confused with this personality reflection. You are answering the questions, you're transferring your answers to slide number 2, you're circling the answer, then you count each column and put it down here. So I would put that I am a I, and then was I sensing, I was an N, I was a T, and then that's a J. Okay, so that's what should be done for this activity. There it tells me I'm the architect, and then I can read about that to see if that is what fits me. And don't forget to answer the last 3 questions on slide number 6. That's all I have for you today. I hope to be back this week, later in the week. But if not, there'll be more videos. I hope you have a wonderful day. Welcome back.